And we are live on air. Welcome, boys and girls, to PSVG 81, the Pokecast. Joining me in PSVG's little Pokemon corner of the world is Q, and it's been a while since he and I sat down to talk Pokemon. How are you, man?
Doing pretty good, man. I think I've been communicating to the team that we're in the process of moving, so this is very precious time, but it's for Pokemon. So I'm sacrificing for the electric mouse.
For your Pokemon, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man.
Well, we had some news today. Yesterday, we got word that today Nintendo was hosting a Pokemon Direct. This is a week before their big E3 presentation, and everybody was like, "Well, why are you presenting Pokemon a week before E3? What are you doing?" And then it came out that it was only going to be 8 minutes long. I think a lot of people were like, well, what in the world are you going to show in 8 minutes? Well, we found out, and we're going to go over the news, and then we're going to get into some of our reactions. So to cover the news, Pokken Tournament has been announced for Nintendo Switch, and it's coming September 22nd. It will include the fighters that have made their way to the arcade version of the game, but those never came to Wii U. So there are 5 new fighters, including a new 3v3 mode, which I am particularly excited about. Pokemon Gold and Silver. The Virtual Console releases are coming to 3DS, and that's fantastic news. And then they wrapped it up with the bang. Excuse me. Pokemon Ultra Sun and Pokemon Ultra Moon are coming to the 3DS only? Maybe?
I don't know what to believe anymore, man.
All right. Let's get the elephant out of the way. All right, because that's what people know. So let's get into the meat of it. Pokemon Stars was not announced today. Pokemon Stars was the rumor that started with Eurogamer and was backed up by Laura Kate Dale and 10 other different sites. Polygon, I think, backed up their sources as well. And it was rumored that the Pokemon Company and Game Freak was working on a third installation to this generation, codenamed Pokemon Stars, and that it would come to Nintendo Switch. That's the caveat. It was coming to Nintendo Switch. They're working on a Switch version of the game. Now, that codename could be Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon. It could be a different game. It could be no game. Maybe there's no Pokemon game coming to the Switch. But that's what people were expecting, or at least hoping for. So that kind of painted the reaction to this not so favorably on Twitter, at least by most accounts that I saw. Right. What did you think of the Direct overall?
The Direct overall, so I'm going to be honest, this is the first or second Direct I've ever watched. I am not, normally I get my Nintendo news either from you guys at PSVG, like I either get it from reading your stuff or your tweets or, going to another outlet and finding out what they're saying about it. I'm hardly ever a first source of news. Like I'm going directly to them and listening from them. Just because normally like at this time I'm not tracking everything.
Sure.
I like the fact that it was concise. 8 minutes, they didn't waste my time. Like I didn't feel like my time was being wasted. I literally watched it on my phone as I was waiting Best Buy to open because I needed to go buy something at Best Buy. So Best Buy opens at 10 a.m. Apparently, I found out the hard way that they open at 10, not at 9. So I was sitting in the parking lot watching the Direct, and I really felt like they hit me with the trailer for Pokken Tournament. They hit me with the ending of that trailer, which was the trailer for Ultra Moon and Ultra Sun, apparently. Little transition over to those games at the end of the Pokken trailer. And then they hit us with about 3 to 4 minutes of these are the dates. This is what Pokken brings. So I really felt like they were very direct, I guess. Obvious, but, no pun intended. And they were concise. So I felt like it was a successful Direct in delivering information. Now, did I feel satisfied with with what I was told that was coming? No, I didn't.
Right. So that's the thing. Were you expecting Stars?
I was expecting, and I mentioned this either in a PSVG another episode, or I mentioned it somewhere. People can quote me on it. I have witnesses. I've said that the next Pokemon, like what we consider the traditional Pokemon game, which is the RPG, gotta catch them all, battle them out.
Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
Right. I said that was gonna come to 3DS. I said that. It just seemed weird to me to introduce Sun and Moon on 3DS and then make a break and go to Switch for the next generation and leave hanging all the fans that don't yet have a Switch.
Okay.
I guarantee there's probably thousands, if not millions, of kids who don't have a Switch yet, who would love to play that next Pokemon game. So it really seemed weird to me for them to make a break and go to Switch with these new games. However, it seems to me like they picked their words very specifically when they talked about Ultra Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I'm sorry, because they said an alternative experience or an alternative adventure. And I'm like, what the heck is an alternative adventure? Because it's not. It didn't say what, you know. If you say a new adventure, I'm like, oh, a new adventure. That's cool. And I don't really remember, Donnie, but when we were talking last year about Pokemon Sun, Sun and Moon, we mentioned, oh, the game hints at going to Kanto.
Kanto, yeah, and
fighting the way Gold and Silver did. After you battle it out in your region, you go to the other region. It's like you have twice the game. It's like you have 2 games in one, because you go to the other region, you battle their gyms, and you go to their league.
Yep.
That's what I thought Stars was going to be. But this game doesn't sound like that, because it says alternative adventure or alternative ending, something like that. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like me going to Kanto, you know?
Okay. Before I jump on the Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon concept here, Pokemon Stars, this mythical game that may or may not be there. I find it interesting that so many people were let down. Now, I believe the rumor was never quoted that it would be a Switch exclusive. I think the idea is it was going to go the Monster Hunter route, at least for the next iteration, and come out on Switch and 3DS. And they're just going to bridge the market. But the idea that it's not there in an 8-minute show ahead of time, I didn't find that upsetting at all. It didn't bother me like so many others. Also, I want to tell you, I still think it's coming.
Yeah.
I just don't know when. But I still believe in the rumor because the sources are good. Like they have a good track record, so I believe them. I believe them in what they think they know. 2, I'm not sure if you saw this. You probably did, because I tweeted several pictures of it. Nintendo of America and Nintendo of Europe both listed Switch TBD on Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon on their websites when they listed the game. Now, it was corrected in like 20 minutes. Like Twitter went nuts. They were like, look, Switch confirmed. And they go, it was a clerical error. But if you've never visited the Nintendo website proper, it's very much like a collection of different websites. I personally find it at least there's enough evidence there to make that mistake if you make that in 2 completely separate places of the website. You know, it's not like it gets updated by the same person. Like the Euro website is very much over there. Our website's over here. I don't find a clerical error possible. Right. Maybe somebody just sent out the wrong email. But if this game was never in development for Switch and was never intended to come to Switch, why would Switch even be listed in the email? Like I thought that was interesting. Now,
I feel like, yeah, go ahead. No, continue.
I was going to say, a lot of people are going, well, now do they show us Pokemon next week? Because that's the thing. A lot of people took today's Direct and they go, absolutely no Pokemon ever coming to Switch. And it's like, that's not the case.
Right.
Maybe it got delayed. Maybe it's not coming this year. Maybe it is coming this year and they're just throwing us the huge swerve. Who knows? But I still think it's coming.
I think it's coming too. I don't know if it's called Pokemon Stars or not, but I believe there is a version of the Sun and Moon game that has Kanto somewhere in there, or at least it has that extra ending that the original game hints at. I also was not disappointed. Like I saw what I saw and I was like, oh, it is what it is. I wasn't like let down, because to be honest, Nintendo has never announced a Pokemon Stars. So it's not like they ever made a promise that they are not delivering on.
All
like we can't be angry at a
rumor
at the Half-Life 3 not ever coming, because it was never said it was coming. Right? It's like you can't be mad at them for like banking on Steam. Like
yeah.
I will say that if there is a Pokemon Stars coming, and it is what we're describing it to be, either for Switch or 3DS. And they do bring up this product in a week at E3, it will make me incredibly less likely to buy Ultra Moon, or Ultra Sun.
I agree.
Because I feel like, because this game already feels like a half a game if that, if
Sure.
half a game more. It feels like DLC, to be honest.
It
except
does.
Except Nintendo would never call it that. They would call it a new game that you pay $40 for.
It's like Pokemon New Game Plus, right?
Right.
It's like a different, like a remix. It's like a Master Quest. Like in Zelda, they have the Master Quest where it just like reverses the world and you do everything in backwards. I mean, they didn't really go in. So we'll talk Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. Mm-hmm. They didn't really go in depth about what this alternative take is. I was wondering, like, possibly could it be where I set in a different universe where you play Pokemon Sun after the league has been established? So there's gyms and stuff as opposed to what you went through the first time. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's enough. For me, I found it very interesting that out of the things that were announced, this is at the bottom of the list for me. And that's interesting because Pokemon Sun's probably my favorite Pokemon game of all time, as we talked about in our review cast. Yeah. I loved it, played it, and I still played it. I even played it not too long ago. I was playing it with my son. Like, we still kind of play it here or there. I really like it. I like a lot of it because of the story. Mm-hmm. And if Pokemon Ultra Sun doesn't tell me a 75% different story, I'm kind of just not interested. Mm-hmm. And it's an interesting thing that they're doing. I understand why they're doing it. There's 60 million 3DSs out there, and last year Pokemon Sun and Moon tore the charts apart. It was such a huge hit for them. You have to think the development investment on putting together some remix was minimal. So I expected to do well. Now it's going to be diminishing returns. I don't think Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are going to do 12 and 13 million copies well, but it might get 5. There's a lot of Pokemon fans out there. Like, that's something that a lot of people forget about. And when we talk about the next topic I want to get into, I kind of want to remember that. And I want to use you as an example. I mean, you have a 3DS, you don't classify as a Nintendo fan, but the word of Pokemon Direct got you watching on your phone today. Like, Pokemon is such a huge brand. It's a massive brand. It has wide appeal, huge appeal.
I don't own a single amiibo, and yet I own 3 different action figures of Charizard.
There you go.
That's the kind of fan that I am.
Speaking of Charizard, he made an appearance in a really good trailer for Pokemon.
That trailer, that made me cry, man.
Did it really?
That made me cry.
Did it really?
It did.
Really?
I teared up. I really teared up. I was watching it, and it hit me deep inside, man. I don't know what it was about.
I will tell you, that trailer did more for Pokken Tournament than any marketing did for that game when it came out on Wii U. That trailer alone. Mm-hmm. And honestly, like, the whole NX Switch marketing that they've had from the get-go has been great. If you go...
Yes, yeah.
And this trailer kind of reminds me a lot of the original Switch trailer. You know, like, they're really banking on the Switch as it being like a multiplayer focus machine, which is interesting. Because that's not necessarily something that they've always been a part of, but almost in every commercial you see somebody bringing that to some sort of social gathering and popping off Joy-Cons and getting people to play together. It's like such a core focus. But back to the game. Pokemon Tournament. Pokemon Tournament DX or Deluxe. They called it Deluxe, and then on the box art it says DX. So it is, I think the official name is Pokemon Tournament Deluxe. Is announced. It's coming in September. So that's an exclusive for the Switch. It's got the 5 new fighters. It's got the 3v3 mode, which I particularly like. I've played this game. Kevin and I played this game. Nobody else has actually played it. For somebody that's played it already, I can't tell you that I'm super excited about it. It's not that the game was bad. The game was actually good. It was better than expected. It's not a great game. Okay. And, you know, if you could think about any of those, like, good games, you know, like those 6 to 7 games that you have, there may be ones that you like, but how many are you going to buy twice, and how many you're going to, like, keep buying over and over again? Now, that said, I have to buy this game because Pokemon Tournament was my 6-year-old son's favorite Wii U game. He hasn't seen the trailer yet. He's upstairs. He's going to freak out.
Does he know it exists? Or
no, he has no idea.
Okay.
He's going to freak out when he sees this.
That's exciting.
Loves Pokemon Tournament. The best story that I have to tell folks about it is at his birthday party last November. He had some friends over from school. It's the first time he ever brought friends home. He's really young. Pokemon Tournament was the smash hit. They played this game for like 4 hours. They kept rotating and stuff. Oh, they loved it. So he's going. I mean, he's a huge Pokemon fan. I mean, that's in his wheelhouse. And often I bring my kids up as at least an example that oftentimes there's a market that's bigger than 30-year-old dad gamer market, and Pokemon, the IP is going to sell. Yeah. Like, it's just going to sell copies because it has Pokemon on the cover. Like, that alone will make it sell. And because this was, I'll call it a fail Wii U game, largely because of the Wii U as a platform. This came out late on the Wii U when the Wii U was dead. It came out with not as much content that's coming now, which even now it's still what I would call light on content for a fighter, especially compared to other fighters. So with all that in mind, it's, it makes a lot of sense to get the Pokemon brand on the Switch. This is probably the easiest way to get it there in the first quarter, first year. And I think it's a pretty good announcement. That box art, though, that box art is nice. I really enjoy looking at the case, so I'm going to enjoy having that on the shelf. Are you excited to play Pokken Tournament? You said it got you all teary-eyed.
Yeah, man. Well, I'll start with the game itself, what they showed us, right? Like, I've honestly haven't, as a Pokemon fan, I've never placed that much attention on Pokken Tournament because it breaks. For me, I'm very much anti-fighting games. I don't even play Dragon Ball Z fighting games. And I'm also a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. I just feel like that formula is very one-dimensional for me. So I feel like at some point after a day and a half of doing it, I take a break for like 2 months. And I'm like, I don't see the investment being worth it. But I did see things that they showed me in the trailer that I thought were really cool. Like, I didn't know you could dodge attacks by going left and right, like circularly around it. And for me, that was an element that I'd never seen depicted in any other commercial or trailer or even like a gameplay presentation. I was like, oh, that's cool. It's way more dimensional than it has more.
So did you always think? I was gonna say, did you always think it was like a side-by-side, like 2D fighter?
I thought it was a side-by-side 2D fighter. I honestly thought it was, but it looks more like a Tekken fighter, which I thought it was always like the superior formula for fighting games to make it.
It is Tekken, but it's Tekken in a 3D space. You're gonna be in for a treat when you play it because there's like some exploration to the battle mode. Like, you can literally like just kind of walk around, and you've got these special attacks and jump and like spin sideways, and the camera will like spin around you, which is really cool.
I've never seen that before. I thought that was really cool. Now I have to go back to the trailer. That trailer I thought it was one of the best trailers for a game I've ever seen. It did more for me than the original Switch trailer that came out, I don't know, with the first announcement of it.
January.
Yeah. That trailer for Pokken Tournament was just pure marketing gold. The scene that really got me teared up was when he is waiting by the side of the road. The protagonist of the trailer, this Japanese guy in his early 20s, it seemed, is traveling through a Southeast Asian country like, Vietnam or Thailand, and he's going to see his brother. And the bus breaks down, so he's waiting by the side of the road. He pulls out his Switch and starts playing Pokken Tournament. And this little kid comes over and starts looking at him playing the game from over his shoulder. And I can't tell you how many times I've been the kid watching another person play a video game that looked really cool. Or I've been the guy playing the video game and a kid just wants to like be part of it by just at the very least just watching me play it.
I've had that happen quite a bit, yeah.
And him looking at the kid and just valuing the kid for who he is, and another future Pokemon fan, right? And taking the controller out from the Switch and giving it to him. That scene, man, it just got to me. It got to me, and I was like, okay, I think I am more likely to get a Switch sooner than I thought.
Wow.
And I don't know who the marketing gurus at Nintendo are, but that scene, that whole trailer, man, if you haven't seen it, you have to go watch it. And I've seen it like 3 times already. It was very. I hope that what they portrayed is that Nintendo is trying to be a bridge between peoples. Yeah. And they want their products to be a bridge between cultures, between continents, between peoples. And yeah, every console wants to be that. But that trailer has done the best job at portraying that. And I felt like hopefully that is an honest portrayal of Nintendo, and that's not just a marketing scheme. I want to believe that Nintendo has nothing to hide. Like, they're Nintendo. We've known them for who knows how many decades already. I want to believe that they see the Switch as more than just an entertainment system, but as something that brings people together, even complete strangers in a developing country. So yeah, you were gonna say something.
I think their library supports that. so to take the marketing angle, I mean, I definitely think they want to make money. So don't give me.
Oh, no, right.
I never think we should ever sympathize with billion-dollar corporations, but I think their game library reflects that statement. Mario Kart, Wii Sports, Animal Crossing, like they have these games that bridge demographics, they bridge nationalities, they bring people playing together, whether it be inside your home, inside your neighborhood, across the world. You say everybody wants to do that, and I think everybody wants to do that to make money, but specifically you look at a console like the Switch, it looks like the Switch was designed around making that happen. It is a hybrid console, it is a cross platform console that appeals to many. And that's Nintendo's. That's always been, their blue ocean strategy: appeal to as many people as possible. The Pokken tournament, I would have been really excited if they announced a discount. I know that's crazy to expect, but I think a lot of people feel like it's light. And there's 15 fighters now with the new 5.
I think so, right? It looked like a whole new row on the selection screen.
2 of the fighters are cloned. So there's 2 Mewtwo's and 2 Pikachus. There's Pikachu Libre and Pikachu, and then there's Mewtwo and Dark Mewtwo. So, they're pulling the Street Fighter thing with Violent Kin and that mess. It's a good game. I would definitely, if anybody never played it, and I saw some of that. I saw some of that earlier today on Twitter. We did some retweets from the PSVG account. There were quite a few people that were like, I never played Pokken because I never had a Wii U, but I like Pokemon. It looked cool. So there's an appeal there for that game. But I think us Wii U adopters, we got to let that go. We got to stop going, I don't want another Wii U port because I already played it. We're the minority. We have to remember that we're the smallest voice in that room. We are the ones that played it. Just like I feel like the Nintendo Switch early adopters, we got to stop killing 3DS because we bought a Switch. There's only 3 million of us, and there's 60 million of those. So until those numbers come up, we gotta stop doing that.
I see it as a console mover, and I know the Switch doesn't need to be moved.
Well,
but I see it as a, like, if you haven't come up with a game that really pushes you to go into the store and just dropping, cash on the Switch, maybe, just maybe, this is a game that does that for you. I'm sorry to interrupt. And it may do it. And obviously, this is not a standard classic Pokemon game, but it's still Pokemon, right? So it may just make people pull the trigger on, okay, I own a 3DS. I don't own a Switch yet. I'm a Pokemon fan. Okay, you know what? Let's get a Switch because at least I can play this game, Pokemon game, that looks really cool and looks really well built.
I heard an interesting take on that, and I wanted to bring this opinion up, and it's going to segue right onto your point. Okay. An interesting take that I read on Twitter today was, if somebody saw someone play Pokemon Sun on their Switch, they might think, why should I buy that when I can already play that on my 3DS? But if you see somebody walking around playing Pokken Tournament, there is a sense of eye appeal there. It's a big, bright, shiny HD Pokemon game, not like the RPG series brings. And that might make a Pokemon fan go, all right, I got to get a Switch. And that's a really good point. I don't know if that point rings true, because I definitely think there's a broader appeal for the RPG series. But I can understand that point. I could see somebody going, well, Pokemon Sun Ultra is already on 3DS. Why buy a Switch? I could see that. I think if there is something to be said when Pokemon for Switch proper comes, it should look enhanced and it should look better. It shouldn't look like a 3DS game like the Monster Hunter game does.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say, I'm not putting expectations on anyone's mind. I'm not doing that. I don't want to get witch hunted later for it. But what if you had a Pokemon RPG game that came close to looking like Zelda?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, don't. I'm not
prophesying. That's the dream.
I'm just saying, and obviously at some point you have to have a different dynamic because you come across Pokemon. There's something classic about that, you versus them experience, right? Where you go into battle mode and whatever. So I don't know how they would introduce that into a game like Zelda, but I don't see that being impossible. And I think if you showed me next week, Donnie, if you showed me at E3 a Zelda-esque Pokemon game on the Switch, a Switch will be the first thing that I buy after I'm done moving my
Sure.
whole house.
Dude, that has been the outcry of people since back on the Wii. Like once Nintendo hit Wii and Pokemon really started to like catch some mainstream, sales numbers. Pokemon's always been big, but in video games, like it seems like from the Wii forward, they really started to get moving, especially with DS. Like the DS thing really started moving some copies. People have always wanted that open world action adventure Pokemon game, or at least like 3D, behind the view, third person Pokemon game, or even a Pokemon MMO. And there's online like weird versions that people have created their own and stuff like that, but they want a proper one from Nintendo. And who knows? Maybe one day we'll get it. I think they'll stay close to the formula, at least on the first go. But I would be all for just a HD, super resolution, top down, standard Pokemon RPG. Just get, because I was kind of hoping that they were going to come out and say Pokemon Sun is coming to Nintendo Switch, and there are no frame drops, and it looks this pretty, and it's got this online connectivity, and you can play with your friends, like something like that. What if you could, like Animal Crossing? What if you could play like co-op? What if you could play what if we could play Pokemon the game together?
That's awesome.
That would be cool, and that's not out of the realm. They do that on Animal Crossing already. They already do that stuff. So I was kind of going down that road. That would be awesome.
I think, like I said, you show me that at E3, and I will start. First of all, I will start crying.
We gotta get you live streaming E3. Okay, I'm gonna be the conspiracy theorist, and I usually hate these people. I really do. These people that find anything to support themselves. In my opinion, there's no way Nintendo makes that clerical error.
I don't think so either.
No,
I mean, they're
way too smart, and they're not even smart. It's not even about smart. Nintendo is so calculated.
Yeah.
They stay quiet on so much. There's no way that that's a mistake. Just how many times does a memo get passed around that company before it goes to the website?
How many? Yeah, I mean, not, even in smaller companies, like my wife is a graphic designer. Like, how many times does a proof get looked at again and again and again? Sure. It's like, this design, yes, check mark. Second version, yes, good. Third version, yes, good. It's like it's not like an intern just hit publish on WordPress.
Exactly.
It's like, no, it's like that was that graphic, because it's a graphic. It's not like you just plug in the TVD, right? Like, that is a graphic that was built for that specific page. So a designer had to put Switch TVD. That doesn't just happen unless someone's like being malignant on the inside. Maybe it was like an evil designer who's like, oh, I'm gonna mess with half the world and do this.
Sure.
No, it either was a malignant employee who wanted to mess with people, or it was a company move that they're like, So,
and it would explain it for this game. Either this game or Stars, although I would say I think Stars, the code name, is this game. I think Pokemon Sun Ultra is Pokemon Stars. For this game to be on Switch, it really does tie a lot together. It does answer. I think it answers more questions than not, because the first thing that Kevin said was, why would you announce Pokemon Ultra and not announce it for Switch? Well, here is an answer for that. They've already previously announced and stated that their E3 presentation, which is only 30 minutes long, is dedicated solely to Switch. There is no 3DS content in that thing. Right. So it does make sense to get out in front of that with some 3DS news. Because people like you tuned in, and that if you want to play Pokemon Ultra on your 3DS this fall, you can. Now, next week, if they come out and say, oh, by the way, that game's also coming to Switch, there's no harm done. Not in my mind. I think somebody like you might jump. That's no harm to Nintendo. That's a super profit. And the people that aren't interested, they're going to buy the game anyway. So I think that's a plausible conclusion to make. I'm not predicting that it's going to be there. I'm not, because I just think it's weird. I think a delay is probably more, maybe they ran into an issue or something. They just can't make deadlines. But I don't think Switch version 2 TBD gets on that website in 2 different places across countries. And Nintendo's website they're like, are you in North America? Here's the North American version. Are you in Europe? Where in Europe? There's no way that happens in those 2 different places unless there's a Switch version somewhere. It's there behind the door. So I think that's happening. Let's get into what I thought was the best news of the Direct, at least for me. Pokemon Gold and Silver are coming to the 3DS Virtual Console, and I'm very excited. So if you were to ask me before today what my even today, my favorite Pokemon games, I would tell you Pokemon Sun Moon, because I absolutely adored it. It's probably my favorite. Then it's Pokemon Gold, and then it's Pokemon Yellow. And the Gold copies is actually something that I've been kind of trying to hunt down. Not really, because I could have had it at any different time.
Like the Gold original copy?
Yes.
Oh, dude,
Pokemon
just send me a text, man. I have it.
Well, I wanted to buy it, add it to my collection, but those carts still sell for a good penny. Like a used cart of that game goes like 40 or 50 bucks, which I think is, it's not crazy for a collector. I think it's a little high for that game for me. It's like something I wanted to have just to have, but I'm not willing to spend like, Uncharted 4 money on to have it.
Right.
So I love the idea that this is coming to the Virtual Console. I'm going to pay, I assume, 10 or 12 bucks, whatever the other ones were. And that's fantastic. I can throw it on my 3DS. I'm definitely going to play it. If there is no Switch version of Pokemon coming this fall, I'm playing Pokemon Gold, and I'm okay with that. I'm not going to play Pokemon Sun Ultra unless they give me a better reason to do so. I'm just going to replay Gold. It's one of my favorite Pokemon games of all time. I haven't played it in a decade, and I'm really excited to have it. I love it when they do this. I wish they did it more often. I always feel like they do it when they feel like they have to. They're like, all right, give them a ROM. It's like Earthbound. Like, all right, the Wii U sucks. Let's throw Earthbound on it. Like, I kind of feel like that's what they pull it out of the shed when they have to. But I'm not going to fault them for when they do it because I'm excited about it. I really like it.
I mean, more content is more content, right? At the end of the day, as long as it's not pure garbage, which I don't think this is. I think nothing that was shown to us today is bad in itself, right? Pokemon Tournament DX, great. Ultramon. See, I want to say Ultramon and Ultra. I keep combining the two into one. Ultra Sun.
They should have called it Super Sun and Mega Moon.
Yeah, there we go. I'm gonna call it that, Super Sun and Mega Moon.
Well, because they're doing the Black White 2 thing, right? Isn't this like the same thing?
It feels like the same thing.
Okay,
it really does, and that's what I was saying in our team chat. Like I said, normally when they've done a 2 version of a game, they don't release the Super Edition, like the Platinum. Sorry, not the Platinum, the Emerald, or
the third,
or the Yellow, or the whatever.
Crystal.
Or when they do a 2 version, they've never done the Super Edition or whatever you want to call it.
You're right.
So that's why the whole Stars thing, maybe it will happen, maybe it will not. My favorite thing of today's news, I agree. Gold was a great game. Gold and Silver were great games. My list of top Pokemon games, and I don't include like the spin-offs like Mystery Dungeon and stuff like that. Sure.
Yeah, we're talking
Fire Red.
Okay.
Leaf Green. I thought those were remakes of the original.
Sure.
Well, not the blue, but the original Red and Green. The green one just came out in Japan. It didn't come to the US. I like those games because they let you battle in 2 different regions. And for me, I'm at the point where 1 region is not enough. Like, I feel like I get through 1 region, 8 gyms, 1 Pokemon League. That
you
takes
want more.
I want more content.
Sure.
So any game that lets me play in 2 regions is huge. Pokemon XY, for me, that's from the newer generation of games, like the 3D, the 3D view. I think those are still the best ones. And that's
really,
even throwing in Sun and Moon and everything. X and Y, just this.
Dude, I'm sorry. Okay, so I gotta interrupt. Okay. I just want to say minimap and menu optimization. For me, I know that sounds stupid to say that because you're a gamer. You're like, that is not even the game. You want to play the game.
I that's valid.
So
that's
much.
Valid. I understand. I completely think that's valid. For me, those things pale in comparison to the quality of the story. The amount of Pokemon that were available, I feel like
that's true.
Sun and Moon, I feel like I was a little bit cut short. I'm like, where are all the Pokemon?
That's true. That's valid. That's fair.
It's a new game, but I didn't feel like we got enough. Long neck,
60 new Pokemon.
Yeah, like long neck Executor doesn't count as a new Pokemon.
White Vulpix.
Yeah, that's not a new Pokemon. Don't give me that garbage. It's the same Vulpix. Just because there's a ice Vulpix doesn't mean that is a new Vulpix.
Yeah.
For me, so I feel like X and Y deliver more content.
That's true.
And I feel like it honestly felt like a new world that we were exploring.
Yeah. New generation.
Omega, Ruby, what's the other one? Alpha, Sapphire. Yeah.
Yep.
They felt like obviously they were remakes of Ruby and Sapphire.
Oh God.
And Sun and Moon were great. They were great games when the stuff that you mentioned, mechanics, everything was optimized. Yeah. But I felt like content-wise, it wasn't enough content for me. I was still hungry at the end of the game. Okay. So definitely gold, silver, top up there. That's what I was gonna say. After Leaf Green, Fire Red, and X and Y, gold and silver are my third.
Gold and silver are great. Like they are really great.
They also let you go to the other region.
Yeah.
When you beat the Johto region, you go to Kanto, and then at the end of Kanto you battle Red. You're supposed to, the guy that you battle at the end of gold and silver is Red, who you're supposed to be in red and blue.
I've had a lot of people come to me and they go, I never tried Pokemon. Should I start with one of the old ones now that they're on 3DS? And I've always said, if you can, start with gold.
Right.
Like go with gold, silver. Because gold and silver are like the best versions of red, blue, and green. Or yellow. Yeah. Well, they're like gold and silver are the best versions of those.
Were they the last Game Boy Color ones?
Crystal, I think, was technically, but it's the same thing. Yeah, right. It is the same generation. Right. I thought it was interesting that Crystal's not here. Because they did Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow.
Well, it's not here yet, Donnie.
Okay. But you remember when they did the 3DS announcement last year for Virtual Console, you got 3, and this year you only got 2. When they said Virtual Console, I was like, okay, we're going to get, 3. And now, because so now I'm going to have to, between me and my kids, one of us will have a duplicate. Because last year we split them. So I got blue, we got red, she got yellow. This year somebody's gonna get, we're gonna get 2 gold or something.
I mean, maybe you'll get it announced next week. This is the only reason why I'm kind of cautious about expecting a Pokemon announcement next week. It's just because they've never had so many Pokemon games lined up so quickly.
That's the best. You're absolutely right. Yeah. That's the best counterpoint. They're packed. They're packed on both ends. They're packed with Pokemon content. And the Switch lineup for this fall, I've been ringing this bell all month here at PSVG. The Switch lineup, as much as people are looking at their Switch right now going, what am I going to play in 2 weeks? The Switch lineup from August through January seems loaded. Right. It is extremely busy right now. It was one thing, I don't know how much you're going to get into this, but one thing that I said to Kevin, I was like, suddenly the Switch seems like they have way too many fighters and Smash isn't even here yet.
Right.
Like there's Street Fighter and there's ARMS.
That has to come next week. Smash. I mean,
do you think?
I just don't.
I think because the fall's so busy, they may show it next week. I don't think so. Now,
what if they show a logo and Mario going to a fighting stance and boom, that's it. That's what you get.
That might be. It might be something like that. Okay, the better way to put it is I don't expect Smash until 2018, and because they just announced Pokken. I wouldn't be surprised or let down if I didn't even see it Tuesday.
That makes sense.
I wouldn't even, because they've got so many fighters. They have all these Neo Geo fighters. There's Street Fighters. They just have fighters everywhere.
I feel like at some point, and you might agree with this, is at some point, if I know there's something really cool coming down the road, let's say they show me hypothetically that Super 3D Pokemon game next week.
Yeah.
Like an RPG Pokemon game for the Switch. I may just hold back and be like, you know what? I'm not gonna spend money on Ultra Moon, Ultra Sun. Sorry, Super Sun, Mega Moon. I'm not gonna spend money on Pokemon Tournament DX. I'm not even gonna buy a Switch till next year because I'm gonna wait for that Pokemon RPG that they announce. So I feel like it hurts them if they pack it too heavy because then it's like, well, I'm just gonna start counting and buy one when I really, really want to play the game I want to play.
That's possible. That's fair. So, I think you're probably in the minority with that stance.
That's fair. I
definitely do because I think a lot of people would take the opposite approach. They go, I get to play all these things, and then I know this one's coming. Oh, I'm totally gonna buy one now. I think that's probably the more favorable aspect on that.
That's fair.
One thing that I thought about the Direct because I watched it twice because it's only 8 minutes. I watched it again. What didn't dawn on me the first time that did on the second time was what an excellent troll job Nintendo did, or the Pokemon Company. We gotta, a lot of times we throw Game Freak, the Pokemon Company, and Nintendo into the same pot, and they're not.
No, right. Yeah.
So we got to throw the Pokemon Company did a super troll job. This Direct starts with a Switch just on screen, and they're like, Nintendo's new fancy Switch, and everybody's like, oh. They're going to do it. It's Stars. They're talking about Switch. And they're like, the Switch is an awesome console that we really want to support. And you're like, it's happening. And then they're like, Pokken Tournament. Just like,
you're like, no.
I feel bad for Pokken Tournament because the best way that I could explain it, and I know it's hypothetical, so it makes no sense. If Pokemon Tournament had never released on Wii U, and I do think when it did release on Wii U, it was kind of unfinished. I think the arcade version getting updates even shows that it wasn't really like done. If Pokemon Tournament had never released on Switch at all, today's Direct would be like a smash success. I really think with that trailer, if this was the first time people ever laid eyes on, I think a lot of people would go, I'm not going to buy ARMS now because I'm going to buy Pokemon Tournament in September. I could see a lot of people switching that stance. But because it's a port, like it kind of gets that shade that all ports get, it's a port. Even if you didn't play it, you kind of feel that way. You're like, oh, it's a port of an old game. It's kind of unfair because it's new. I think the 3v3, as dumb as that sounds, because it's just a fighter, you should be able to fight as many different fighters as you want. So Pokemon Tournament DX is different. It's new for somebody that played it. It's not like drastically, and it's not, completely new, but there's new things about it. One of the things that I tweeted was a split screen. The first one never had a split screen. When I played it with my son, we both had to navigate the camera, which you already noticed spins around you in a 3D space.
Yeah,
guess what? When you only have one camera, that's kind of a pain in the... like if I'm on the far side of the camera, it looks like he's controlling the view. Like I can't see. He's in my way. So
you can almost use that as a tactic, messing up controlling the camera.
Exactly. It was kind of chaotic. What led to was a bunch of you like you would dodge each way to kind of spin the camera in your favor. So getting a split screen, as dumb as that is, I mean, because I understand this, I feel like I'm complaining about I'm propping the mini map again. Remember when I was like, Pokemon Sun has a map, and you were like, we've had maps in games for a decade. I feel like I'm doing the same thing. But to its credit, it is something better that the original version didn't have. The original version, you could only do 1v1. So if you wanted to change Pokemon, you had to go back to the start menu, go back to exhibitions, set up a match, pick the Pokemon, and start again. This one lets you pick 3. So if you really like 3 of the 15, you can pick all 3, just like you would in a real Pokemon battle, and you can go to battle with your 3 Pokemon, your team. I think that's a significant change. The Pokemon Sun support that it's getting, I'm not sure if you noticed, but Poplio and Litten were added as support characters. Do you know what those are?
I do not.
Okay,
are they like the ones in Capcom where they come in for like a second and do like a quick attack or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. So Pokken, in addition to the fighters that they have support characters, and that lineup's better. There's like Vulpix and Cubone. There's like better lineup.
But is it Fire Vulpix or is it Ice Vulpix?
I'm sure we're gonna be able to. There are gonna be 2 of them now. It's 2 Vulpix support characters,
and they're obviously different Pokemon.
They're different.
Bad. I forgot.
Yeah. But yeah, so support characters, they come in and they give you some little power up, right? And it was cool. You get to pick your own power up, and some work against Pokemon. Picking your supports. I always just pick the Pokemon I like, but there's some strategy. If you're good at it, there's some strategy there. And then who's the other one? The bird with the thing.
Impera. No, you're talking about the bird from
Decidueye, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that its name? I'm looking over here. I'm trying to find my notes.
Yeah, no, that's it. It's the Decidueye.
I think that's right.
That's pretty close. Yeah.
That's a Pokemon Sun exclusive, and that should resonate with the 12 million people that bought Pokemon Sun last year, or at least the people that beat it. So they should, that's good branding on their part. I really wish they announced in today's Direct, even if they didn't have to announce what it was, I wish they would have told us with more DLC support coming. The biggest problem that I have with Pokken is it's just light. When you play the campaign, which is actually a lot of fun, because there is like this trainer system that you work your way up, and your trainer is highly customizable, which I really got into for like my first weekend with the game. I was like, oh, that's cool. I need that hat and I need that jacket. And, that was kind of neat. But with only 15 fighters, you find yourself fighting the same Pokemon more times than you would like.
Were you able to do Mega Evolutions in the original one?
Nope.
So you can in this one though.
Can you?
I saw Mega Charizard X.
Oh no, you know what? I'm sorry. They have like power-ups. Yeah, they go into that mode and then they have like an attack and then it goes away.
Oh, okay. Got
so
it.
It's not like you can't like fight as that character. It's not like a level up. Lame. Yeah, it's not like a level up system like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
how cool would it be if you could go like Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard in one?
Exactly.
Fight, right?
The idea that I always had for Pokken Tournament is that you're blending what was great about Stadium. Right? You take Stadium and you apply it to a fighter and you work your way through, because I think if you started with all basics and the more you fought with them, you leveled them up into evolved versions, I find that highly addictive. I could just imagine Pokemon fans everywhere playing a fighting game for hours just to make their Charmander or Charizard. But that hook isn't here. Like you just get Charizard and he's just heavy and he just does.
And I'm guessing this is not in the game. I'm assuming it's not, where it would be really cool if there's a list of attacks that you can have going into a match and you can pick which 4 attacks you want to.
Oh yeah, no. This is a button masher.
Then at that point, there could be another meta to the game, which is I'm gonna use Slash and Fire Blast, but I'm gonna sacrifice not having Flamethrower so that I eliminate that medium range attack.
Yeah, that's not here.
I mean, obviously that's not there, but I'm saying like Nintendo, if you're listening, I can definitely use an increase on my salary. So, thanks.
So for me, for somebody that's already bought it, and I'm going to buy it again, so I know that's saying that. But if I'm offering advice to somebody else, if you've already played it, you shouldn't buy it unless you're like me and your kids love it. If you've never played it, it might be worth a purchase. If you've never played it and you're a Pokemon fan, it probably totally is worth a purchase. The argument that I've always had with Kevin, because Kevin's like, it's not good, it's a little light on content. He's always been the light on content's not worth your buck, and I agree with him. I do agree with him. I think he's right. I just think he always overlooks that this is the first ever Pokemon 3D fighting game. And that's been something that Pokemon fans have wanted for a long time. And I just think Nintendo should deserve getting at least the kudos for making it happen. Because for 20 years, people have wanted it. Like Stadium was just like a turn-based attack game. It was just who had the better Pokemon. This is actually a strategic
This is real time.
fighter. Yes. Yeah. And that should be rewarded. I just wish my biggest problem with the game isn't just that it's light on content. It's the characters that are there. I'm not a super fan of. There's like 5 that I like, and the other one.
Is Blastoise in it?
No.
What? It's Blastoise, man.
So now he should be in it because most of the fighters that are in it are characters that stand up and have appendages. Most of them, not all of them. There's this Chandelure thing that just spins around the whole time. It's kind of ridiculous. But most of them
should be there, but he fits that description.
He does, and that's why I said he should be there, because most of the Pokemon that are in it are humanoids. Like they're human-like. Like Nidoqueen and Nidoking aren't there either. How you can have a fighting game without a Cubone or a Marowak blows my mind. Like, for what purpose does that serve?
I saw that Zizor is in it.
Scizor is in it.
That's awesome. I love Scizor.
Darkrai's in it. I know Gengar's in it. Of course, you have Pikachu. I'm trying to remember. I should have looked up the roster. You have obviously you've got Gray Ninja. He's totally in there. He's like the fighting one. But like Howluch is not in there.
No Hitmonlee, no Hitmon Chan.
Nope. That makes. How do you have a fighting game with no Hitman?
Donnie, you're gonna break my heart right here, but it's okay. I'm ready. I'm ready for it. There is no Dragonite, right? There's no Dragonite.
No,
okay.
There's no Dragonite.
Okay,
let me look it up. I want to make sure.
I'm not gonna cry on camera tonight, but viewers, you know that I'm crying inside.
So that's my problem. That's my problem with the game. Really, it's not just that it's light a roster. It's just that the roster is not that great. If the roster was better, it'd be a good game. All right, so here's what you got. You got Blaziken, Braixen, Chandelure, Charizard, Krogunk, I don't know who that is, Empoleon, Darkrai, Decidueye, Garchomp. Garchomp's good. Gardevoir is good. Gengar's good. Lucario, I missed that one. Obviously, he's got an amiibo. Machamp, Mewtwo, Pikachu, and then Pikachu Libre, which, as a collector of the cards, I can attest to, those are different cards. There is a Pikachu Libre card.
But it's still Pikachu, though.
It is still Pikachu. Sceptile. Now, they do fight differently. I'll tell you that. Pikachu Libre is a little heavier.
See, Blastoise trumps Sceptile on that list, man. Like, Sceptile...
Blastoise trumps half of this list. There's Mewtwo, Shadow Mewtwo, Suicune, and Weevil. Weevil. That's my problem with the game. That's my biggest issue.
Remind me how big was the lineup for the last Smash Brothers?
Oh, dude, I think it came out of the gate with 40 characters, and then they
they
added another 15.
So what's the issue here? I mean, I know we don't know, but it's like
I always felt like DLC, because even when Pokken hit Wii U, because Pokken is a very interesting game in the sense that when it hit Wii U, we already knew that there were other characters coming, and everybody expected it to have DLC. Like, expected it. Everybody was like, oh, well, yeah, we're going to get these arcade characters. I think because it sold so poorly, they never came. And people were like, well, that's a dead idea. I'm wondering if the Switch might be like a second chance. If it sells well, maybe more comes. Maybe
it'll need a patch though, because in the UI I didn't see slots for more characters.
Oh, and when Smash released, there weren't slots for new characters either. Okay. And they actually patched it to where you go to a next page for even more. And they've got like sub menus and stuff. It is worth mentioning there's 32 assist Pokemon.
Oh wow.
That's so that's what I was trying to tell you. Like, a lot of people don't know that. They're like, oh, it's just 15 fighters. This is terrible. No, there's and I think it's actually, according to Wikipedia, it's 20 fighters. But yeah, there's 32 other Pokemon. So when you're in battle, you're going to see a lot more than just the 2 people that are on field. You're gonna, there's some variety there with that. I wish there was more story to it.
I think it would be a misstep. I feel like right now as it is, it will be maybe a day one purchase when I get my Switch Pokemon Tournament. I think so. Maybe that, and maybe like a Mario Kart or whatever is out at the moment. Maybe a Super Smash. I do feel like it would be a disservice to the universe if you don't add more fighters. Like, come on, man. Like, there's how many Pokemon do you have? I mean,
there's like 1,000.
And it would make sense to add those really cool extra Pokemon like a Dragonite or a Blastoise as DLC, because people want
they'll pay for it. I'll pay for it. I'll give you
You put a Sceptile in a DLC, I'll be like,
how much would you pay for an extra character?
Oh man,
$5?
I think $5 is
$5 for the right one. I would do.
But they're probably
$2.50 for mini. I would do.
They'll probably. If I were them, I would sell them in packages.
Sure.
Like you pay 10.
You do a bundle for less.
You pay a bundle for. You pay like 12 for 2 main characters and then like 3 minis or 2 minis, something like that. You know, like.
So like, I'm trying to think about it. I wouldn't pay $5 for every character that comes out. Like characters I have in mind, because that's a lot of money. Like $5 if you buy 4 characters, $20. But I would pay $5 for like Cubone just for him. But I would probably pay $2.50 or $2 for every character. So like if they came out, let's say they came out with let's just announce them off the top of our head. Folks that make sense: Dragonite, Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee, Nidoking, Nidoqueen, Cubone, Marowak. That's 7, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't pay $5 for all 7 of those. That's $35. I would pay $2.50, I think, for all 7 of those.
Yeah,
I would beef that game up for $2.50 for all 7 of those characters.
You're buying like half the game. Well, no, like you're buying 50% extra roster. I guess
right. It's $14 on top of the $60 you're already going to spend. I think that's fair.
Plus, I feel like at some point, like you say, you have a lot of fighters, but if you have like 3-on-3 battles, at some point you're gonna like start repeating them. Like, that was
the biggest problem with Pokken, man, is that after that first, I'm telling you, that first day you play it and you're like, this game is great. Because the one thing that I never said that I don't know if people out there want to hear, but as a fighter, it's very competent. It's a very good fighter. Like, it's definitely like more detailed. There's more depth there than like an ARMS, right? Or like, you know, something like that. It's a fighter. Like, this is like Evo good of a fighter. Like the mechanics are great. The problem with it is after your first day, you're like, I already did this. How many times are you going to fight Pikachu Libre? Like, I fought Pikachu Libre 50 times yesterday. You know, like, it just keeps happening over and over again. And it's like, there's just not enough there for a fighter, in my opinion.
Yeah, man.
So
it looks good though. So
it does look good. And I will get it. It'll be a Black Friday purchase for me, and it'll be a Christmas present under the Christmas tree for my son, for sure. Because I'm not like in a rush to go get Pokken Tournament again.
Well, it comes out in September, right? So
it does come out in September. So when I was looking at it, I was like, this is a perfect Black Friday game. I'm going to get it at $40, knowing Nintendo. I'm putting it on the Christmas tree, and my son's going to wrap it. And he's, oh my God, Pokemon! And he's going to go play and stuff like that. And hopefully, again, maybe if it sells well, maybe it gets more support. Although I think it's, even at it what it is, it's for a Pokemon fan. That's one of those classic tropes of gaming for fans of the series. That's what Pokken is. If you're a fan of Pokemon, there's a lot to like here. But if you're just kind of loosely into it,
for Charizard suckers,
dude, just to beat up on fools with Charizard and Machamp is kind of worth the experience.
I mean, it was so cool to watch just in the trailer. Like Charizard just doing like that Mega Punch, and
he can fly and stuff too. Like you can go up in the air and like do a flamethrower, and then yeah, it's fun. And Pikachu Libre is actually pretty awesome.
They can. I can sell that one back to them and get like $2 credit or something.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for checking out our Pokecast. Our team here, PlaySomeVideoGames.com, PSVG Podcast, Donnie and Q. We are always here for your Pokemon needs. I find it interesting. Pokemon is such a huge brand, and then out of our massive team, like we're the only Pokemon. We're like Pokemon, and they're like, "Who's?"
We have youthful hearts, man. We're not like Kevin. We don't have old man hearts. We have young hearts.
That's a good point. It's a good
young
point.
Souls.
Q, tell the listeners where they can follow you and listen to you.
Yeah, they can find me at Unrated Podcasts. Is my Twitter handle. That's the only Twitter handle that I use all the time. I'm not very good at you following my other one. And I just today published a post on PSVG on storytelling inspired by playing Firewatch, which is a game that I got to pretty recently, so late. But it really hit me deep. It was a very good experience. So, yeah.
Awesome. Firewatch fans playing on PlayStation, after many attempts of trying, I got to tell you, the Firewatch theme on PlayStation 4 is by far the best theme out there right now. So if you've not had it, go give them $2. Even if you don't play the game, buy the theme. The theme's great.
Nice.
I am at Playin' Nintendo on Twitter, and obviously I am probably 80% of the time tweeting from our at PSVG team account. And you can always come listen to us, come follow and listen to us at PlaySomeVideoGames.com. The PSVG podcast available on all podcast services. We thank you for listening. Remember, as this is a good point that I've been bringing up on Twitter lately, can you tell me what you think? We are Patreon and ad-free. I feel like the more research I go to, the more websites I visit, there's more ads, there's the more podcasts I can't listen to anymore because there's paywalls. I'm like, man, I gotta start marketing us as the opposite of this. Like we do it for the love of the game as long as the love will let us. So
yeah, absolutely.
Download and check us out, if for no other reason than support us for that. So, boys and girls, as Kevin always says, thank you for listening, and remember, never stop gaming.